Okay. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Do we have everybody that wants to listen and learn? Okay, cool. If you need to, move up closer. There's plenty of seats in the front, and there's no extra charge for sitting closer up front. That's a special for today only. Well, this is exciting. I appreciate your attention. This is a short presentation. Basically, think of it as a way for us to share our learning and our strategy to help communicate, one, to the church, and then communicate to the community what this shared kitchen from North Shore Presbyterian Church has to offer. And the sermon was obviously a perfect setup, and that discipline of guidelines of digging deeper and finding out what's really important will manifest itself in this presentation. First thing I thought we would start with is, what is a shared kitchen? You've heard it so many times, you might think, oh, it's a kitchen you share with people. But it's a thing. It's a thing from a commercial standpoint. The concept of a shared kitchen has been around for a while. I will read a couple of these to make sure you all see it, or all can comprehend it. I won't read all of that, but a shared kitchen is a licensed, fully equipped commercial food facility that multiple culinary businesses or entrepreneurs pay to use on a daily basis or hourly basis to prepare and cook food products. They can avoid high costs. There's no bricks and mortar. These are people usually working out of their home. Food truck people use shared kitchens a lot. I'm not saying food truck people will use ours, but maybe they will. They can use it as a platform to launch and grow. And Ed has commented multiple times that when this idea was being pitched to Shorewood, that they found that very attractive, that the shared kitchen could be a bit of a launching pad for businesses to then come into Shorewood. And the multiple kitchen, from a marketing standpoint, is actually a growth sector. There's more and more of that going on. So you're kind of, the church is at the front end of a positive trend that can really help people. So that's what a shared kitchen is. You've heard the theme, multiplying our mission. And there are many instances of food in the Bible, this being the most famous and the most apropos, and that the theme of it for us is multiplying our mission. And to recap, the shared kitchen serves as an extension of our communion table, allowing us to be good neighbors through meaningful community partnerships that embody a loaves and fishes mission. I have to say, we started this back in January, and it took a while for my slow mind to cook into gear to see the spiritual dimensions of this. But once you start to see it, it's like, oh my word, this for real has really profound spiritual connotations. Not to say that it isn't very tangible too. So that's the vision, if you will, for the shared kitchen. This will actually be the North Shore's first shared kitchen. There are shared kitchens around. There is a website you can go to if you're a chef or a baker to find a shared kitchen near you. So this will be the first one in the North Shore. It'll be a dynamic hub for food entrepreneurs located in downtown Shorewood, designed to help food businesses build and grow while providing an opportunity to enrich the North Shore community. So you can begin to see by that description that's pretty viable, and that has a lot of compelling implications for businesses, that this is more than just, a church fixing up their kitchen. There's a lot more to it. But it will have modernized facilities. It'll be premier and professional. And we have to remember, we haven't lived here very long, maybe 7 years or something. It's an incredible community, and this church, therefore the kitchen, is right in the heart of it. And that is something to be touted. Now, the other thing, if you think about some of those principles of connecting to larger things, The kitchen, think of it as kind of sitting at the hub. We already referred to it as a hub, but it's really the hub of an ecosystem. So there's the Covenant family that's in the ecosystem, local food entrepreneurs, which will be enticed to come to the kitchen. Shorewood is in the ecosystem. The entire North Shore is in the ecosystem, and youth and community programs, daily activities, including after-school programs, intergenerational cooking classes, community meals, and more. So just as the theater was an entree into the building, becoming so much more than, you know, empty rooms in a massive church, this is yet another opportunity to create that ecosystem and draw more folks and help more folks too. Now, as a good marketer, you always have to have, what's the value to my primary customer? Well, you are the primary customer, but bigger than that, it's the whole community. But seriously, it's a unique initiative to transform our underutilized kitchen into a vibrant community hub while expanding our long-standing food ministry. By partnering with local food entrepreneurs, we are stewarding our building and financial resources to increase the church's viability and visibility in the neighborhood. Now that's kind of a mouthful, but it's pretty succinct too, and I think that's a mission and a vision we can live up to. Some of the key things it does too is it expands the food ministry, it enlivens the building, it broadens the welcome of North Shore Church, and it maintains the church viability, not insignificant. Church has been around for 100 years. We've got to keep it going for the legacy and for the future as well. So a lot of cool benefits. Now, very important for us to understand is through our sessions, we kind of unpack the benefits to the business community, because that's the partnership that we want to establish. So the value for North Shore business leaders, it's the first licensed commercial grade hub for food entrepreneurs in the North Shore, providing a professional space to build and grow local businesses. Our initiative will invite business leaders to contribute financially to foster a strong business community and advance their outreach goals. It's a strong value proposition, and we've got a lot of compelling messaging. Some of the key points that we and all of us can make to business leaders, it's first of a kind regional resource. It facilitates small business growth. We know Shorewood is anxious to get rid of empty buildings, and if we can help facilitate small business growth, that's going to be fantastic. Another thing they're interested in, and as all of us are, is to build a resilient food ecosystem. And that it advances corporate goodwill. Meaning the businesses, most of them have part of their vision that they have to have some type of outreach, some type of goodwill program to show that they're good citizens within their community. So this will provide them an opportunity to do that. And we think a very tangible one, and one that's kind of easy to understand. Now, many of you are familiar with the concept in any type of negotiation, whether it's interpersonal, family, or business, you want to have a win-win, right? This is like really cool because if you look at the center, this is the shared victory. A bustling community hub that fosters diversity, inclusive engagement, and the nourishment of mind, body, and spirit. Okay, we get that. The community gets that, and to either side, you can kind of see how it aligns, where, I'll read a couple, where the motivation for us is for active stewardship and enriching the Covenant family. The motivation for the business community is economic development and business diversity. You can read those back and forth, trading one side for the other side, but it's really an uncanny alignment, which is indicative of a win-win situation, which we're always striving for in any type of relationship. So the good stewardship and good business achieve aligned results, which I believe will help in our success. Now, zooming out, you heard that. That's one of the principles. The principles that Janine shared from that author are very akin to what we use in strategic planning for marketing. So in zooming out, go out even further, and this can be a model for the modern neighborhood kitchen. I'm quite sure we're not the only church that is looking for other ways to engage communities. So we believe that this can be a model for others. So our shared kitchen allows us to be good neighbors through meaningful community partnerships that embody Loaves and Fish's mission. We said that, but it also allows us to be a role model for others, providing the historic church, proving that historic church buildings can remain vibrant, self-sustaining community centers, creating a stable operational blueprint that can be shared with other congregations facing similar situations, and demonstrating that extending the communion table into the local economy is impactful, active, modern stewardship. I think that's super exciting, and for the church to be able to be a leader in that, and it's all about sharing, that's a marvelous thing to share. Now, making our mission possible, sorry for that pun, but hey, couldn't resist. We already know the positioning. It really is an extension of the communion table, and it has enriching and deep and meaningful spiritual connections. I think most of you know that the kitchen is nearing completion. This is not an update on the kitchen itself, but you can tell by the duct work that's on the outside of the building, that was a heavy lift for Ed and crew to pull off. So that's done. What exactly each one does, I'm not sure. I'm going to ask him. One looks like a tube from a water park, but I don't think it's a water park slide. But maybe it is. Maybe it's a water park slide too. Now, there's multiple sources of funding. There will be an external capital campaign. So you're at the tip of the spear here. None of this has launched yet. This is the kickoff. So we're not going externally. That is to come. We have to get a few more ducks in a row first. But there's going to be an external capital campaign with North Shore organizations and businesses. There's going to be an income stream through the shared kitchen agreements with local food entrepreneurs. That's the shared kitchen concept. That's where that comes from. And that's managed by Joby Murray, which is another win-win. You know, she's experienced in this, and we've got the kitchen, she's got the customers, so that's another marvelous win-win. The Covenant Family Capital Campaign, means of contributing will be shared later. We're getting that all, so it's going to be convenient and easy. But the other thing too is that it's not just financial sharing. It's believing in it, contributing to events, dreaming up events. I believe we're only limited by our imagination of what we can do with it once it's in place. So that's part of being involved. And in terms of fundraising, this is forever. You know, who knows what we can dream up. So as people get their heads wrapped around this and we get some experience, you may think of more and more ideas of how to use the kitchen as that hub. So the idea being that together with all of those activities, we can narrow the revenue budget gap, replenish the legacy fund, and also be good neighbors. So, I mean, that's very real, but there is much more to it when you zoom out about why we want to support this. And the reason we want to do this, allowing us to be good neighbors, I could not get out of here without saying that it's always a good day to be a neighbor. And that's it. We will, as best we can, there are some members of the team here. If there's any questions, we'll try to answer questions. Jenny?
Well, first I want to say this is so exciting. This is wonderful work, and thank you for sharing it in the way that you have. It's so inspiring, so exciting. I'm really curious, and maybe it's too early, about, you mentioned the operational blueprint. I'm thinking about our relationship to the health department and ensuring that, you know, we're able to have a consistent approach to cleanliness in the kitchen.
question is, how are we making sure that the kitchen stays up to code, making sure, like, how are we partnering, like, just physically in the space? This week, Ed and Joby and I are meeting with the health inspector for the North Shore. This is exciting for him too, because it's the first one of these he's done in the North Shore. So we'll be asking some of those specific questions of, do we need to be following whatever particular code? How do we need to be licensed or not? How do our people have to use the space or leave the space for, you know, other people? So that kind of stuff is getting worked out, because we obviously want to be able to continue to use the space as we have been able to use the space for potlucks and for Pathfinder's dinner, and also hopefully the youth theater, when they're here, can still be able to use that space. So that's all coming. Pray for good answers and easy, easy sharing. Yeah.
Could you expand on who is eligible to use the space?
Oh, interesting. I don't know that there's much of a limit on that.
Here, I can explain it to the depth of my understanding. The basics of it, remember there's multiple sources of revenue. The shared kitchen aspect, think of the shared kitchen like a health club where you buy a membership. And you can go in, you could buy it for a day, a week, or a month. That's how it'll be managed. And Joby will be the manager of that. So she's going to sell time to food entrepreneurs, and then she's going to have a master schedule that doesn't conflict with what the church activities are. So the eligibility would be to pass her screening, you know, that they're a legit chef or a baker, and then she will lease time to them. They come in, they use the kitchen, they leave, and so that's how the shared kitchen aspect works in simple terms. And the other thing to remember is the church would have the first right of refusal, meaning that's a bit of the balancing act. The people that are coming in renting time can't land on top of something the church already has planned, but that'll be sorted out in the scheduling.
Yeah. So we can see it as Joby being one of the partners, and because she will come up with the schedule that she has. I mean, she's got like 8 different time slots and different types of chefs that could be here. So she will be one partner, and then all the little partners in between. We'll be able to still continue our ministry and mission. And then if there are things like outside events, weddings, other sorts of things where they are able to use or want to use the space, then we can kind of contract with them as well. That makes sense.
And a spin-off of that question, so I'm thinking long-term of NSPC's involvement in this fabulous enterprise, and how we structure ourselves to be that good partner. Right now, I'm hearing just a few names that have been working really, really hard. And, you know, Session has lots and lots of other things to do. Has there been any thought given to how we maybe create a new committee or a commission or a governing board for this enterprise, because it's so different from what we've done in the past?
You mean moving forward into the actual operation of it, and not
How
just,
does the church involve itself in a way that's sustainable?
Yeah.
And that touches on all the elements of our responsibilities?
yeah, that's a good point. I think as of right now, the members on our marketing team, many are staying on to do the kind of phase 2, which is the actual starting to advertise and start to try to gather those funds. Where was my second part of that going? Oh, the other part, so some of us will stay on because we all have specific hats that we wear in that, and I'll introduce that in a minute. Many of us are staying on to continue in that part of it. A big component will be Mary. Is Mary here? So Mary Brenner, as part of the finance team, has been really involved in getting the leases together between Mary and, is Jim McCracken still here? So we have a friend of the church who is a lawyer and has been drafting up user agreements. We have to use that language instead. And so they've been very involved in helping to make sure that those things are right. And then, like, we're coming upon 1 year of MYT, so we're revisiting and how are we partnering and what does that lease need to look like that's different moving forward. So that's been where it's been landing for now. That's an interesting idea. We hadn't thought that far. Or it is. Let me get a mic.
I don't really like talking to the microphone. But anyways, I don't know, do I have to back up? No, I think we have talked about the fact that it might come down to needing a small committee or team of people, you know, to keep this going and then keep everyone engaged and make sure it's sustainable and there's no conflict of interest, so to speak, and overlap of, yeah, possibly, or part-time. I think it's more of a part-time thing. I think once we get the entrepreneurs in here, food entrepreneurs in here, we'll see how much, you know, how much time space is left, slots, you know, because we always have to make time for church activities.
Right.
That's a priority too.
Yeah. So Joby did walk in.
Let me
We
just
ran
add,
really short,
add a
so
quick thing
like
to that.
5
Hi, Joby. Just to Jenny's comment, another principle that's involved, and we've started it some, is that you want to have ambassadors and advocates. So that's another thing too, is that we need internal ambassadors and advocates, people that are spun up more on the details. We can't have everybody in the church try to know everything. So if we could have that core group that is specifically spun up on details, we've got talking points, we're going to have presentations, things of that nature. Also, that we need those core advocates. Not to call you out, Joby, but Joby's here. Joby's in the house.
Yeah. Here you go. We're just calling her out. We're just, hey there. part of the beauty is of Joby's work is within her networking and her starting this business and operating the business out of our space is that we then don't have to be the manager of all the different little cooks, etc. That's her business. We will have to then manage like any of the other things, but that eases a lot. I mean, otherwise we would definitely have to have, I don't know, full-time staff, something different than that. Okay, Lynn.
I think I'm on.
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Sometimes I'm not on. So I don't want to bring up a negative question, and unfortunately, sometimes they, I think, have to come forward because this will be a community space and because we will have different people in here. Will there be a screening process for folks who will be using the kitchen? I'm thinking because we also have Milwaukee Youth Theater here, we have other children in the building and things like that. I don't want to exclude people, but I do want anyone who's here to be in a safe environment.
Absolutely. So I'm going to let Joby answer part B. Part A is that Kathy is still here. We've talked some about making sure, especially because of young people here, that part of Joby's plan will be to background check everybody, and that will be like, she's going to do that, that's her expense. And then when we get to finalizing that user agreement, we will kind of talk a little bit about like, how are we as a community then informed about who are the people using the space? How could we partner with them? Like, it's all about that partnership too, and that safety of it, and all of that. Like, I don't want to say we need to like vet everybody because Joby's really going to be doing that, but we do still want to be able to know who's here. So that's a little to be determined. Do you have other things to add?
I would say there's not going to be that many people. These aren't like, they're not coming in and like, they have to go through a process like of getting certified with the health department as well. Like, it's a whole, like, the people that would show up would be like for a class. So like if you're having a class or if there's an event that they would be, but all of the makers that are in there are business owners that have gone through like a process to be business owners, so they're not generally like, and again, we talked, yes, and that was a request from Harmony because of the kids, of anybody who's working here at the same time as the kids are here. But again, there's more kind of in and out with MYT than there will be with IC, with the kitchen being. So like if we, you know, are doing background checks on the MYT people or like the Al-Anon people, like we're just another kind of group of that. Does that make sense? Like, it's not a different, I want to make sure that we're adhering to whatever is currently being done with the other organizations.
Yeah,
The-
and as far as it being like not very many people that are here, your schedule as you have it laid out is like 8 chefs, is that?
I mean, yeah.
Or businesses.
Right.
And then you've got, what, 1, maybe 2 or 3 that are a part of that in the space at a time.
Right, yeah, the kitchen's not big.
Right.
Like, it's not, you know, there's not gonna be a group of like, I don't see it being like 10 chefs in there, like, preparing a meal, like that just, the space doesn't warrant that. Does that make
We could
sense?
do
So,
a Food Network show if we tried it.
we probably could, we should absolutely pitch that to them. So, yeah, I think whatever is currently being done with the other organizations that are
Yeah.
in the facilities as it goes to background checks or verifications, like, would be the acceptable for this. Like, I don't see this as being different in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Other questions or clarifications? Yeah.
I apologize for not knowing the plans, the Albright plans or anything, but two things that I should think of is with MYT, I noticed that they take up a lot of room in the entire basement. I know from working here before and having a group here before that used our kitchen, they took up a lot of space to include the stage. We had no place to put like the racks that they use, spices and things that they use. And if you have several different people in here, I'm sure they're not going to be able to use each other's.
Yes. Do you want to address that?
We got the resource room that will be reallocated to fridges, freezers, and racking space. So that will be accessible to just the users. And you're right, they cannot share product based on their businesses. Like their business, like the health department doesn't let them share ingredients.
Okay. Does the resource room have a sump pump in it?
Yes.
Okay, that might be something to consider whether or not they're going to okay that.
Yeah, the health department's been here a couple times, and we've had Fine Brothers come in and Bolter to both do that.
We not only had freezers, you know, of course, in the kitchen, but we had them in the back room, if you're facing the stage to the left, going, you know, around the back of the stage. And we also had refrigerator freezers going along the back of it. And that was just for one that they utilized the 2 freezers where we now have chairs along there. The other thing was, I think one of the things you have to consider is security though.
Yep.
Oh, cleanliness, that's what I was thinking. Who is going to be in charge of cleaning? Because the one that we had in there, I would find peas and carrots and everything else underneath the dish carts that we had down there and everything. So,
Yeah.
as far as cleaning, is that going to be out of our pocket? Is that something that we're going to request them to do?
You want to talk about how your people will handle it? And
Yeah.
then we can talk about how our people.
Yep, so it's part of the SOPs. So the standard operating procedures of all the businesses that are coming in, like have like the expectations and like what is to be done before you leave or when you get there, and that idea of that you leave it better than you found it. And then like there's extra fees if you don't leave it the way you found it, right? Like, so there's ways to mitigate that. Also talked about like having a certain time, like there'll be like expectations of like what needs to be cleaned. So one of the things that works in other kitchens of this model is that like there's kind of that weekly checklist of like what needs to be done. So like when you are in there, like here's your like kind of bigger task that needs to be done this week, and kind of everybody spreading the load. So not everybody has to clean out behind the, you know, I don't know, something, but like once a week it gets done, and then it kind of gets allocated and split up through that. And then we talked about utilizing the staff that's already here that comes and cleans and
Yeah.
adding that incremental increase into this business to provide more business to those cleaners as well, to make sure that there's kind of a deep clean or like mopping and done that's like kind of once a week when they come in already. So
Yeah.
adding that.
So as we're thinking through like how, I mean, this is obviously going to increase all of our different utilities, et cetera, right? So as we're thinking, how do we structure that? We need to think about the changes in, do we need our cleaners to be here more or do different things or whatever else? Because they don't do much in the kitchen right now. So this will be a lot different, and we'll have to see what extra they might need to do.
And if they can't, then that's another conversation of
Find
what
somebody else.
needs to happen and what, you know, like it's kind of that learning process, right? If we're finding peas underneath the,
Yeah, well, you have to have some
Strike one.
go in there and
yeah. And the thing is that these are business owners, so they've gone through Serve Safe certification. They've like they would have these expectations no matter what kitchen they were in. If they were in their own kitchen, all of these things would have to be done and they'd have to do it all themselves. But in a shared kitchen, they only have to do like, again, like I said, like we kind of rotate through those big cleanings. So you only have to do one instead of having to do 8, right? And so that idea, like these are kind of the benefits of working in a shared kitchen is you get that shared community, so you don't have to do everything by yourself, and really pitching it that way as well. And again, health department can still come in for each of the businesses and come in and look and see. So if one business gets inspected, that gives us an inspection kind of for everybody, right? So yeah, and we've got a close relationship and communications with Brad, with the health department as well. Yeah. So.
Kathy?
Will people be able to sell directly from the church?
No.
No.
That
Like
was
not
part
like
of
retail,
the
yeah.
zoning change, is that it needed to be sold off-site.
So it could be like pickups, right? Like, but it's not a retail location, so there's not like or like if the church orders something, then yes, right?
Yeah, right, yeah, it's not,
But there's not
we're
like
not,
a retail
operating
shop
a
or like
store.
a,
Well, I bet there
Okay.
they couldn't say like 5 to 6 on Friday night and come pick it up. No.
I don't think so, and it can't, like they can't say like, I'm operating for these times for you to come in and buy my things, like that's.
but we
that was
talked
part of
about
that.
offering like pop-ups or events or markets.
Yeah, so
and
there-
those would be, so I want to make sure that we're like,
Yeah,
how we differentiate that.
I mean, another thing to think through with the partnering of this is, like, last year, out on the patio, Joby came and sold some baked goods at times, and then we had the coffee truck. So one thing to figure out how to partner is that still an option, or is there a different way that we do that? Is it a free will suggested donation instead of like an actual shake? So I want to be able to partner with the chefs here on site as well, so it's just.
I think, and
Figuring that out.
the zoning is about like a retail location, like having like, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not coming in and having a meal or an event or a class. No, I mean, we don't run restaurant hours. Like, yeah,
And
like it's
smaller-
not,
It's a smaller operation,
yeah.
because, I mean, if they wanted to be big enough and was selling enough to have a bakery out on Oakland, they would do that. This is like their smaller operation, so. Jackie?
I have a question, which kind of tags on to something you were talking about. A moment ago, I got here late, so I apologize if you already covered this.
No, I did too,
Do you know
so.
what the chefs are going to do as far as cleaning on Sundays when we're using the kitchen? Are there going to be particular, and what are they?
Absolutely, yes. You guys will, everybody will follow the same SOPs and the same cleaning and operating procedures and have the same access to the same things. So yes, that's an excellent question. So the plan is to have like the written instructions, like how to work the dishwasher, or how to turn the hood on, or like here is your shutdown procedures, right? Like here are the things that need to be done, both for church members or community members and also for the chefs. So it will be the expectation. And again, yes, if the church also leaves it messy, then I will be having a, you know, like for when my next maker shows up and they're like, they left it a mess. Like that's that conversation. So yes, absolutely. And again, where I come in to create some all of these kind of policies and procedures and processes to help everybody kind of coexist together, and that it's not left, you know, for the sugar ants to come. They're the worst.
I'd like to suggest that we have some training.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely. Yes.
And I'd like to suggest that it be exciting and interesting.
Oh, yeah. With food.
So with food, of
Yeah.
course. Somebody, did you say you're bringing the Kringle? Yeah. There you go. Love it. Yes. Yeah. Okay, we covered a lot. Thanks, everybody. Any other? I do want to acknowledge our team. Most of our workshop team is here. Do you want to just? I'm going to give you a microphone. Just let us know who. Here we go. Let us know who. Oh, you know what? I have one. Like who you are and why you were interested in. I'm going to make you start.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kaylin. So I'm mostly just interested in helping to spread this message a little bit more impactfully to anybody else in the community that may not know who we are or what we're doing. So, you know, I come here and I'm a member of this church, and I want to try and help others that aren't currently members to find their way through our doors. And with the Shared Kitchen Project has been a really useful tool to help me kind of guide people into this environment now. So that's kind of what I'm doing and why I'm here.
She has experience in promotions, which is also another helpful thing. And if you have not seen or met her husband, DK, he's been doing a lot of our website helps. And then up in the front row and floating, the young woman with the little buns, that's Alex. She's our new social media coordinator. So she's been helping out as well. Okay. All the people who work behind the scenes
Hi,
and
I'm
don't
Chris
wanna...
Jensen, and I really wanted to get involved in this because I spent my career in advertising, so I go really deep with that. In art direction design, I knew we were going to need some marketing materials for this. I was really happy to jump in and do that and get a chance to freshen up my skills again. And you know, it's just the nice thing about working in advertising, what I always loved, is you get thrown on some new piece of business that you know nothing about. So it's a constant lifetime of education and learning, which this has also has been. And to work with Roger, I have to say, the strategic planning, strategic planning guy, it's been really amazing.
Yeah.
You've done a just outstanding job. So thank you again.
As I get to the next person, so Chris is responsible for all the beauty that you see on the screen. The group threw out lots of different answers to really great questions and tools that Roger gave us from the work that he has done in the world, and then he condensed everything into all those really meaty, wonderful statements of things. And Mary was our proofreader in addition to copy editor.
Hi, I'm Mary Brenner, and yes, I have been an English teacher in parts of my lifetime, so proofreading is very important to me, but it also helps to give a more professional look to everything. If you're reading like an advertisement and there's a misspelled word in it or something, you're just like, oh, that looks really nice.